We've got the power panel now. David Avella, chairman of GoPac, and Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor. Thank you both for coming on today. I mean, this is disturbing on many levels. We also have a black mayor for the first time in years, and you've got Black Lives Matter already planning protests and chaos in the streets if he gives the power back to the police officers to get the crime under control. David, your reaction. It's just pretty despicable as a New Yorker.
Eric Adams, call Winsome Sears. She knows a thing or two about being an elected leader trying to protect Americans and being called a racist and a white supremacist, which is invariably what's going to happen to Eric Adams. Though the words aren't nearly as the biggest challenge for them, for either one of them. It's these prosecuting attorneys that the progressives have elected to make sure that repeat offenders and the worst violent offenders get back out on the street. Talk to any police officer. They're going to tell you it's not the funding levels that's their biggest problem right now. It's that they do their job and they arrest lawbreakers, and within hours they're back on the street because prosecuting attorneys won't prosecute them.
I mean, Leslie, there's a New York Post op-ed that claims that BLM leaders' sick threat is an insult to black crime victims, while the Wall Street Journal editorial board is out with this headline: Black Lives Matter versus Eric Adams. Quote, voters largely rejected the anti-police policies that Democrats advocated after the Floyd killing, but left-wing activists continue to defend policies that weaken criminal enforcement, such as New York's 2019 state law eliminating cash bail for many offenses. It is no secret that here in New York City we have a predominantly Democratic citizenship, if you will, right? But they also want to be able to live in the city freely and safely. And we are not doing that and have not done that since this pandemic and since Mayor de Blasio basically stripped the police officers of all their power. Wouldn't Democrats want, you know, lawless streets to be finished for once?
Well, they do, obviously, from the election in New York and elections throughout the country. One, two, I'm glad David actually helped to make my point that it's not about funding, because defund the police, I'm a Democrat, is, you know, a terrible campaign slogan and a bad idea. But what is a good idea, which President Biden spoke about, which the new mayor, incoming mayor of New York has spoken about, and which the majority of Democrats want, and many Republicans as well, is reformation of police. People, regardless of their political party, were horrified when they saw the murder of George Floyd on video. They said enough is enough. But what we also saw, in addition to a minority of people out there looting and being violent, is an overwhelming majority of people saying enough is enough. We want change. We want reformation. There is never a time, I don't care what party you're from, what group you belong to call for violence. But we have fringe elements on both sides, whether it's somebody on the right having a cartoon of trying to kill a fellow peer and congresswoman, or somebody on the left saying that there's going to be riots and bloodshed in the street of New York. The majority of people out there who say Black Lives Matter, whether they wear a T-shirt or have the sign in the window, do not want violence. And that is not just polled. You can ask anybody that nobody wants that.
The problem is that Democrats that have been in office up until this point, where we've got high crime rates like New York City, Chicago, the list goes on, they have emboldened people like the leaders of Black Lives Matter here in New York City by threatening that if police basically start ramping it up, they're going to come out and protest, and there's going to be chaos in the streets again. So, I mean, they're playing with fire. That's all the time we have, though. David Avella, Leslie Marshall, thank you both for talking to us.
Thank you.